One of the most powerful tools in your artistic toolkit isn't color, it's value. And today I want to break down a concept that transformed how I approach lighting, the relationship between bright and dark in both your lights and your shadows. Here's what most artists get wrong. They think about light and shadow as just two values. Light areas are bright, shadow areas are dark, simple, right? But that's only half the equation. The real question is, how bright is your light and how dark is your shadow? The terms here can sound confusing at first. So let me break them down using a value scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is pure black and 10 is pure white. First, understand what the words mean. Light and shadow refer to where on the object, the lit side versus the shadow side. Bright and dark refer to the value we choose for those areas. Now here's the key. 5 is your middle point. Everything above 5 lives in the light range. Everything below 5 lives in the shadow range. Your lit areas, no matter how dim, should always be picked from above 5. Your shadow areas, no matter how lifted, should always be picked from below 5. So let us define our terms with actual values. Bright light means your lit areas sit high on the scale, around 8 to 10. Near white. Dark light means your lit areas are dimmer, around 6 to 7, still above the midpoint, but muted. Bright shadow means your shadows are lifted, around 3 to 4. Below middle, but not by much. Dark shadow means your shadows are deep, around 0 to 2. Rich near black. See how we are making two separate choices? One for the lit side, one for the shadow side. Let me show you what each combination creates, and more importantly, when to use each one. Combination 1. Bright light, bright shadow. Your highlights sit around 8-10, your shadows around 3 to 4. This creates a soft, ambient feeling. The light is strong, but the shadows never get too deep. Everything feels lifted, open, breathable. When to use it. This is your go-to for comfort, safety, and warmth. Think of a character waking up in a sunlit bedroom, a peaceful village scene, a wholesome moment between friends. The lack of deep shadows tells the viewer there is nothing lurking, nothing to fear. It is also perfect for overcast daylight, where the sky acts as one giant softbox, illuminating everything evenly. Outdoor scenes on cloudy days. Soft morning light filtering through curtains. Studio photographers use this for beauty shots and product photography, where you want to see everything clearly without harsh shadows distracting from the subject. Use this combination when you want your audience to feel relaxed, safe, and at ease. Combination 2. Bright light, dark shadow, highlights at 8 to 10, shadows at 0 to 2. This is maximum contrast. Bright light punching through deep, rich shadows. This is where drama lives. When to use it? This is your hero moment lighting. The protagonist stepping into frame, a villain revealed, any scene where you want the viewer to sit up and pay attention. Think strong directional sunlight, harsh midday sun, or golden hour light cutting across a landscape. One side of the face blazing with light, the other falling into darkness. It is the lighting of conflict and tension, a standoff between two characters, a moment of decision. The shadows suggest danger, secrets, things hidden. The bright light suggests truth, exposure, confrontation. Cinematographers call this chiaroscuro. It has been used since the Renaissance to create striking, memorable images. Caravaggio built his entire reputation on it. Use this combination when you want your audience to feel tension, awe, or dramatic intensity. Combination 3. Dark light, bright shadow. Highlights at 6 to 7, shadows at 3 to 4. Both values sit close to the middle. Nothing is very bright, nothing is very dark. The result is flat and low contrast. When to use it? Now, this might sound boring, but it is incredibly useful for specific moods. This is your melancholy, dreamlike, or detached feeling, a character lost in thought, a memory sequence, someone emotionally numb going through the motions. It is the lighting of overcast skies and fog, misty forests, rainy city streets, scenes where the world itself feels muted and subdued. Use it for flashbacks or dreams, where you want the scene to feel separate from reality, like it is faded, distant, or uncertain. It also works for moments of quiet sadness, a funeral scene, a character sitting alone after loss. The flat lighting reflects their emotional state. Nothing feels vivid or alive. Do not underestimate this combination. It is not about creating excitement, it is about creating atmosphere and emotional weight. Combination 4. Dark light, dark shadow, highlights at 6-7, shadows at 0 to 2. Everything lives in the lower half of the value scale. Your brightest point is still muted, but there is still meaningful contrast because your shadows drop deep when to use it. This is nighttime, mystery, and unease. The world is dark, And even the light sources are not enough to fully illuminate it. Think moonlit scenes, a character walking through a forest at night, a dimly lit alleyway, a candle flickering in a dark room. The light exists, but it is fighting against the shadows, and the shadows are winning. This is the lighting of noir films. Detectives in shadowy offices, secrets whispered in dark corners. The world feels dangerous, uncertain, full of things unseen. It is also perfect for horror. When everything is dark, the viewer's imagination fills in what they cannot see. That is far more frightening than showing the monster outright. Use this combination when you want your audience to feel uneasy, curious, or on edge. When you want them leaning forward, squinting into the shadows, wondering what is there. Middle line at 5. It is your anchor. Light always comes from above it. Shadow always comes from below it. The distance between your two choices determines your contrast. Where they sit on the scale determines your mood. High values create energy and openness. Low values create weight and mystery. Wide contrast creates drama. Narrow contrast creates subtlety. You're not just choosing light and shadow, you're choosing how your audience feels. Before your next piece, ask yourself, what emotion am I after? Want comfort? Bright light, bright shadow. Want drama? Bright light, dark shadow. Want melancholy, dark light, bright shadow. Want mystery, dark light, dark shadow. Pick a number for your light. Pick a number for your shadow. Commit to that range and watch your work transform. Your art still needs a story. These rules can be followed or broken to create your intent. Let the narrative guide the choice. Let me show you this in action. This is Taku the Wanderer, a red spirit who offers protection in exchange for friendship. He is a jovial soul, but there is an air of mystery to him. I wanted to capture both, the friendly lightness and the enigmatic presence, so I went with bright light, bright shadow. The values stay lifted, keeping him approachable and warm, but there's still enough contrast to hint at something deeper beneath the surface. Bonus tip, values are not always black and white. Natural light is hardly ever pure white or pure black. Here, I used a value range from yellow in the lights to purple in the shadows. Emulating a more dreamy, magical sunlight, color can carry your values, while adding another layer of mood. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If this helped you understand value and lighting a little better, I would love to hear about it. Drop a comment and let me know what you're working on. And if you want more art tips like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss the next one. Now go paint something. I will see you in the next video.